Hey everybody, and welcome to Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to work on this Bougainvillea. This was a landscape plant that I purchased from a wholesale landscape nursery that I have dealt with for years. He finally retired and quit his operation just last year. And so this was a landscape plant. But when I go there, I look for trees that are actually leggy and kind of nasty that landscapers don't want, because they want nice, thick, full plants. But there's always a few, typically on the edges, that make much better bonsai. And this is one of them. I've worked on this tree a couple different times, and right away we see that there's some things that need to change. And well, first of all, I'm going to take it out of the pot. So let's take it out of the pot. There we go. I had originally thought of putting it into a bonsai pot. So I have numerous bonsai pots that I was going to show you. But I've decided against that. I've decided to put it into just a regular 10-inch bulb pan, which is this guy here. I think I'm too high now, so we'll drop it down a little bit. This tree also has a very strange, the trunk right here is almost parallel to the earth. However, I can rectify that by changing the planting angle. And I'm going to get rid of this small branch here so we can see what we're doing better. So I'm going to change the planting angle to something like that. And then when that happens, we're missing stuff in here. So I'm going to take this branch and wire it into place. There's a little tiny bit of growth right there. Wire that guy into place. Try to promote this guy. And then remove a lot of this stuff here. And I think at the planting angle about like that, is it still in the frame? Planting angle about like that. It goes from having a branch that looks just totally straight to a really nice gentle curve. And so that's the plan for today. So I'm going to start by just cutting off the excess. As you can see here, it's grown out a lot. And boogies are actually classified as a vine. So they grow like that. They grow with long tendrils. So I'm going to cut. I have some confusion here with this here and this here. They could both be the first main branch. This is probably going to go completely. But right now, I haven't really decided. So I'm just going to keep both of them. And I can decide later. I do that a lot with my bonsai. I don't have to have it done like in the next 10 minutes. Now I'm probably off this way. And then just chop the rest of it here. Should I leave this as a sacrifice branch? Bougainvilleas don't get thick unless you let them grow for 20 years or more. Then you can have huge thick trunks, but then you need to be collecting them normally out of people's yards. Bougainvillea, this one doesn't have it because most bonsai won't produce spines, but if you let a bougainvillea elongate, they make nasty spines. So a lot of people just get tired of the spines. They dig them up and they throw them out for the yard trash. That's when the bonsai people descend. Can I have that tree? Sure, I don't want it anymore. But this one was actually a landscape plant. Oh look, it's got a little fern, which I'm going to now remove. I love saving these guys, I don't know why, but little tiny fern, just beginning. So I'm going to get some wire and wire this guy down. And then other than pruning the roots and creating a different planting angle, that's going to be about it for this tree. So let's go get the wire. I'm also going to get a tray, which actually I have right here, because I like to save my old soil. It's not good for growing bonsai in training, but I add it to my compost heap because I do way more than just bonsai. I'm a very avid gardener just in general. So let me go get the wire and wire this guy into place. I spun the tree around so I can work on wiring this guy. This part here doesn't really need to be moved much, just the outer part, so I'm going to bring it here. And then let me look at the front and just bring it down. Okay, that's much better. Actually, it needs to come back a little. It's too far forward. There, okay. So that gives us some visual weight over here. And actually there are young buds right here, so it's alive all the way to the tip. I thought it had died back, but it hasn't. So now we have the fun of chopping the roots. And that's just a matter of tipping it over and starting in on it. Bougainvillea notoriously doesn't have much roots. They grow with a lot of large roots, but not much feeder roots. This one looks pretty good. We finally been getting some rain, so this root ball is very wet from the rain we got last night. But I don't think that'll make much difference. I'm going to do my best to prune off as little roots as I can, just to get it into the training pot. Not looking at taking a massive amount of roots off. And once I get into the training pot, then I'll show you some of the pots that I chose. Actually, this guy's got some strange knobs in here. So that is going to need, actually it's just popping off. And some of these larger roots are going to need heavier tools that, once again, I left behind. So I'll be back. Okay. Some handheld loppers. Chop that root off there. Just horizontally chop everything off that's below an imaginary line. Just so it's shallow enough to go into that training pot. It's being ornery. Getting there though. Oh! Okay, so how does it look going into the training pot? Oh yeah, that'd be very nice. I'm going to cut off this lower branch too. There, so that's about the angle I'm going to put it at. And I'm really not going to have to cut off a lot of the roots on this side. A lot of times when you, here's a root I am going to cut off right here. A lot of times when you change the angle of a tree, there's a lot of roots that are on this side because of the way it's growing, but there isn't any. So I won't even need to do that. So just about like that. And we need to sort of, well, let me just move the tree. Maybe I can move the tree back so you can see more of him. Of course, he righted himself, so you know. And the way to change the angle is just stick more soil down here than you do here underneath the root ball. So we still need to really develop this side. It's very weak. But I like the line of the tree now. I like the movement. And bougainvilleas are sometimes not really styled in perfect classic bonsai because they do grow so viney. So a lot of times you'll see bougainvillea that are just really big glob with the foliage, with the flowers, which are not really the flowers. They're called bracts. And let me get this guy into some soil. And then I want to show you some of the pots that I did choose and my thinking about that. I removed the old soil from the tray. And now I'm going to refresh this guy with brand new soil. And once again, I'm going to change the planting angle. So, and if I don't get the planting angle perfect, it's not that big of a deal. There's always another time. I'm going to be repotting this guy throughout its entire life. Typically, as trees get older, you need to repot less. But I don't have to get the angle perfect today. Although I certainly want to get it as close as I can to what I want. I think it needs a little more. Let's see how we're doing. Need to come behind the camera. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. Push some soil down below those roots. And then soil. Sometimes I find myself whispering, and then when I'm editing the video, it's like, man, can anybody even hear me? All right, there we go. The pot out of the way. I'm going to leave this growth for now. I don't see maybe pinch off the tips. Don't see it's that big of a deal. And maybe try to spin it a little higher. There we go. So this guy still needs to come down into here. I think that's going to be a nice tree. And you know, we've got this back branch that could probably be wired into there. But for now, I just wanted to change the angle. And I was going to put it into bonsai pots, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video and then make a whole nother video on my philosophy and my thinking process of how I choose a pot. And I'm going to use this tree as an example. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and you can watch the choosing a bonsai pot for this tree within, you know, I'm going to post it probably within the next few minutes of posting this one. So please subscribe, hit the like button if you like this video, and I will see you in the next video.